Hello and welcome to the Empowered by Claudia podcast, where we explore all things self-development. Here you'll discover practical tools, tips and strategies to help you feel more confident, empowered and in control of your life. I'm Claudia, I'm your host, I'm a registered nurse and mindset coach, fear of success instructor, and most importantly, your guide on your self-development journey. I know firsthand how confusing and overwhelming and isolating this path can feel. So I created this podcast so you never have to navigate it alone. Welcome back to the Empowered by Claudia podcast. I'm on take 5 recording this. We now have a guest, Willow the cat, sitting in the corner going, what is going on here? I just wanted somewhere quiet to go to sleep and now you're waffling. So today we are talking about having a full mind, which feels really relevant right now. I'm definitely coming down with a cold and I woke up this morning and my brain was just full of half thoughts that are kind of like, it's not a complete one. I can't even really articulate it to write it down to get it out of my brain, but my brain just feels full. And I just wanted to come here and say, like, if this is you, if you're feeling that your brain is just so full and you don't even know where to begin, then I'm with you on that. So we're going to explore that a little bit today. But that's not to say that we're going to be fixing it or clearing our minds. It's an opportunity to just listen. Maybe it'll give you something to listen to think about. Maybe it's just somewhere to give you a break from the fullness in your mind. So often, even if we are trying to distract ourselves, that chaos, I want to say like a fog in your mind can be distracting because, like for me, I love going to exercise classes and I feel like they're my mindfulness because I have to focus so hard on following what the instructor's doing. It does not come naturally to my brain, but I enjoy it. But it gives me that because I can't be thinking about what I'm doing after or what I need to pick up from the shops or this and that, the other, because if I do that, I will inevitably trip over, crash into somebody, knock other people over. It would just be chaos. Let's just say it is not in anyone's best interest for me to get distracted. So I find that going to these gym classes is kind of like meditation for me. Now, other people might find, so I do find if I go to, like, say, for example, if I'm having a spa treatment, you can guarantee my brain will be full of a million things that I'm thinking about because it's silent and I've actually stopped. And I think this is the thing, is that we so rarely actually stop and give ourselves that breathing space that the moment that we do, everything comes flooding in and you're like fighting it because you're like, no, I need to rest. I need to have a clear mind. Can't think about that right now. I just need a break. And then you get this extra pressure that you're putting on yourself going, well, I need a break, but I can't even stop thinking about this. And why am I so rubbish at this? Everybody else can meditate. Why can't I? And just to say, this whole session is not about just meditating, I promise you. But it's just an example about when my mind gets really full. So I want to change the label, I guess, that we give this full mind. So a full mind means that we care a lot. Like we're thinking about a million and one different things and how it'll impact everyone. And it's not through a lack of care. It's not a character fault. It's just that life is busy and there's a lot going on. So as we talk, I'm going to offer you a few gentle prompts. You don't need to answer any of them, all of them, but just let them pass over you and see if anything does spark anything. And yeah, give yourself permission just to go, okay, someone else can have that question. I don't need that question right now. So I want you to begin by thinking about when you often notice that your mind feels full. So is this, like I said, when you finally have booked that spa treatment and you're lying down on the massage bed and it's silent and dark and soothing, and then suddenly your brain's like, oh, hello, peace. Now I can start working. Is it that when you're trying to go to sleep last thing at night and your brain's like, but what about this? When do you feel like your brain is full? You know, obviously we have a huge mental load. We have all of these pressures in society and all these things about, well, you can do it all. And, you can have a great career and have the house and have the pets and have the children or the family. Like this pressure of the expectations about what we can or should want. And it's a lot. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're putting ourselves under that pressure. Might be the things that we're hearing on social media. It could be the fact that we have really busy jobs with deadlines and big expectations. It can be that maybe we're going through a season of change. Maybe we are going through perimenopause. Maybe we are getting a new job or moving house or having children or going through family ill health or our own ill health. These seasons of change are opportunities, but they're also incredibly stressful, and there's lots and lots of thoughts. I was talking with Evie's class teacher the other day, and she's saying, like, we're renovating their kitchen and there are so many decisions that they have to make, and it's just relentless. It's like, where do you want this socket? Where do you want that? Where do you want? And it's like, I want a new kitchen, but I didn't realize how much extra brain power that was going to have. And it is. There are so many reasons why this particular time of life can feel just completely overwhelming. The other thing is our nervous systems. If we are stuck in that fight flight mode, our body doesn't feel safe to rest. So the minute you try to rest, there's this conflicting things. It's like, well, you can't rest because you've got to keep safe. So you can't afford to sleep because, danger might happen. So you've got to be alert. But your body needs rest. Your body needs downtime. And so you've got this kind of the opposite, I haven't got the word, brain's too full. Essentially, there's this conflicting intention is that we need to rest, but our body doesn't feel safe enough to switch off. So I'll just again invite you to think, what is your mind working hard to hold on to right now? So one thing that you're like, right, I really must keep that in mind because I don't want to forget it. And, you can't move forward until you're like, right, I need to do that first. Is there something there? Like I said before, if it doesn't twig anything, that's fine. And what I want to talk to you about next is about letting go of this idea of switching off. This isn't a task. This is a reframe. Our minds are not meant to be empty. This is not possible. There's no such thing as like completely still. There's always something. What is our definition of calm? It might not be silence. So I absolutely love it when you are walking in like a woodland and there's a little babbling brook stream and you can hear the water just gently moving past. You can hear the birds. You can hear the wind rustling the leaves on the trees. And for me, that is peace. That is calm. But that's not silent. And so when we're thinking about our mind switching off or having a silent mind, I don't think that's what I want. I want a calm mind. I want that peace. But it doesn't need to be empty. Because actually that woodland scene isn't empty. It's very full of things, but it's very calming. So you might want to think about what you believe a calm mind looks like for you. What feels soothing, restorative? It doesn't need to be empty, but we get to decide what our calm mind looks like. You might think, I don't want to hear the noise of water because that's going to make me need a wee. You might not want to go into a woodland with the dappled sunlight. You might have a completely different definition of the calm mind, and that is absolutely okay. So another thing to think of is that it's really hard to go from a really high intensity situation to calm. We slow things down. Going back to the gym scenario, we have a warm up at the beginning of the class that gradually gets our bodies warmer, stretches safely, and increases our heart rate gradually to then when we go to the more high intensity tracks. And at the end, we have a cool down, which is slowing the pace down. So we're not just going from high intensity to stopped. We are gradually reducing the intensity. We're stretching, we're moving, and we're getting slower and slower. And this is the same with our minds. So a few months ago, I went with my friend Hannah to an evening spa. And we got there and we were so excited. It had been years. And like we both said, we're not in the right vibe here because we were like full on pumped. We were like, we're out of the house, kids are cared for, like it's just us. We're so excited. And that was not really the spa vibe. Like a spa vibe is like calm and soothing. And we were just almost giddy with excitement. And so it took, like, we couldn't go straight into a steam room and sauna. But like, actually, I'm going to just swim in the swimming pool and go in the jacuzzi and then gradually kind of calm. And the calm did come in quite quickly, to be honest. But it's just another example about how you've got to meet your body where it's at. And if you've been rushing around all day and then you think, right, it's bedtime, jump into bed, and then you lie there and you think, well, I can't sleep, I'm too wired. You need to have that calm down. And so maybe it is about doing a kind of bedtime routine in that maybe it's doing some stretches, maybe it's doing I think it's like yoga nidra. Lots of people have YouTube videos on like a bedtime routine where you're doing stretches and gradually getting slower and slower and less energetic. And sometimes that is the way to calm the mind, is actually saying, right, we're safe. We're not having this high energy to stop. We're actually slowing things down. It could be noticing our breath and doing some breathing exercises. It can be noticing things around the room, accessing our senses, thinking about what we can see, what we can hear, what we can touch, what we can smell, what we can taste. And actually, it might be, so I have a lovely scented hand cream. I also I love a hot chocolate. I find that really calming. So it might be that you can tap into your senses to kind of give yourself a calm down routine to go, actually, okay, so this is how I transition from this high intensity space to a calmer space. And actually, this is something that I did when I was transitioning between working and parenting. So when I was working in the NHS job, you'd get to work, but on the way you've done the nursery drop off and you've not even had a minute, really, it feels like, before you're then in work mode. And I found that transition quite hard, more so the transition at the end of the day. So finishing work and then getting back into parenting. And there was about a couple of minutes to kind of transition from work mode to mum mode. And that I found quite tricky until I started having a little bit of a kind of switch off routine. So as I got to outside of the work building, I take a pause and try and just consciously say, okay, goodbye work. Okay. And now we're going to go into parenting. And I think about, okay, I'm excited to see my children and focus on the new change rather than taking the things from work. Now that started before I left work. So I had a reminder on my calendar saying, you're going home in 30 minutes. That would be my prompt to start writing down the things I needed to do, the things that I didn't want to forget, organizing what I was doing the next day, looking at my calendar for the next day, really kind of finishing off the day intentionally rather than what I was previously doing, working up into the last minute going, oh, I'm late, right, I need to leave, and then rushing out the door and then getting to nursery and feeling absolutely frazzled and literally like trying to do 50 things at once, thinking I mustn't forget that. But also then trying to be a present parent and listening to what they're saying about their day. And it was much easier when I planned that cool down, as it were. We say cool down / warm up because you're kind of cooling down from one role, warming up for another. So really think about what would feel easier, calmer, or what would help smooth that transition. And that's not saying that you need to do that immediately. That's saying that it's just something to think about. Is there anything that will make that easier for you? Now, I absolutely love a mind map. I find them so helpful. So that is another option. So grab a piece of paper. I love plain paper, plain A3 paper. Absolutely love it. And literally just jot down things that are in your mind. They don't need to be in sections. They can be if you want. Let's just get them out of our minds and pop it all on paper. And that takes off some of the worry about trying to remember. Sometimes it's really hard, like I said at the beginning, when you have an incomplete thought. So there's something there, but it's not formed enough for you to be able to write it down. But what you might find is that actually by clearing out the stuff that you can name, the things that you can label, that will then give space for that idea to fully form. And by writing things down, that is going to create that relief that you're not like, oh, I don't want to forget that. I don't want to forget that. I need to remember. And so thinking about that, is there one thing that you would like to put down today? It could be something that is outside of your control. It could be something that actually is a problem for next week. So could you put a calendar reminder in for next week to deal with that? And then that gives your mind permission to say, okay, that's fine. I've taken care of that. I can't take action now, but I've put a reminder in. I'm going to do it next week. And that can then just relieve some of that pressure. And I want to basically reassure you that we don't need to solve everything right now. We can take time. There's very few things that have an immediate deadline. It might feel like it would be good to get this resolved right now, but actually, can you say, I'm going to decide by the end of the week? And actually giving yourself that headspace, you might then come across a different piece of information. Maybe someone will make a comment. Maybe you'll find something else out that then helps you make that decision. So what if you gave yourself some headspace? It's a breathing room. What if we said, I'm going to make that decision on Friday. I'm going to make that decision next Wednesday. And actually just be gentle with ourselves and actually understanding and saying, like, we've got a lot on. We don't need to do it all now. We don't need to fix every problem right now. And then just try and think of something that you are proud about for. It doesn't have to be big. It could be that you've taken this time to listen to this podcast. It could be that you're feeling less judgmental to yourself for not having a completely empty mind, because, like I said, it's not possible. It's not the aim. We want, well, I want a calm mind. You might want a busy mind, but I don't think you do, because you're listening to this episode about full minds. So what will help us have calm? And being gentle and compassionate with ourselves is absolutely the first step. We are so hard on ourselves. We put so much expectation and pressure, and it's not fair. Acknowledge the things that you're doing really well at. And yes, that piece of paper with lots of things written on might feel like there's so much I haven't done, but I guarantee you, if you switch that round and if you write about all of the things that you have done, there'd be far more than the things that you haven't. And not everything on that list needs doing. Sometimes it's just getting it out and onto paper that actually takes away the pressure. So I want to finish by saying, a full mind doesn't mean that you're failing, you're not doing it right. It just means that life is busy and chaotic and demanding, and you're human, and an empty mind isn't necessarily the goal. But maybe we can think about what a calm mind looks like for us and take some of the tips that I've shared today to heart and think, actually, does this help me? So we're thinking about getting things out of our mind onto paper, thinking more gently about it and actually going, it doesn't mean anything. If my mind is full and I'm feeling overwhelmed, it doesn't mean anything negative about me as a person. It just means that life's busy. And thinking about how we can maybe meet our body where it is. So how do we do a kind of calm down adjustment routine when we're transitioning between work and home, between home and bed, between maybe waking up in the morning, not expecting ourselves to just immediately go, go, go. And thinking about how we want our minds to feel and what brings us calm and peace. As we finish, I've got one last thought, and that is, what would supporting myself look like today? Does it look like wearing a comfy, cozy hoodie, having a lovely hot chocolate, being gentle and realistic with my expectations about what I can achieve today or want to achieve? Does it mean pushing myself? Does it mean starting to do something? Is it that actually supporting myself is going downstairs, putting a load of washing in the machine so that I have done one thing that my future self will be grateful for? Or does it mean actually saying, well, it can wait? as we reach the end of this episode, I hope that you're feeling a bit calmer, that your mind is feeling less full, and that you're feeling more compassionate towards yourself and everything that you're trying to hold and juggle. Because life is busy, but that doesn't mean that we're failing at it. It just means that we need to be more compassionate and understanding of ourselves. And so I'm not going to overwhelm you with anything else, but if you really like the podcast, please do give me a review, tell your friends, and I will see you again next week. Take care, my love. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Empowered by Claudia podcast. I'm Claudia from ClaudiaSabinaWellness.com. If you are ready to take your next step and transform your life, all the ways to connect with me, whether for coaching, courses, or any other sort of support, are in the show notes or on my website at www.ClaudiaSabinaWellness.com. If you found value in this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a review, share it with a friend, or post about it on social media. Don't forget to tag me at Claudia_Sabina_wellness. Your support helps more people discover the tools and guidance they need. I cannot wait to support you on your journey. Much love.